Hello everyone, welcome to my video called Blindfold of Fear and Glasses of Love. So this is a term I came up with. I'm sorry, my eyelashes are sticking together and it's just gonna bug the heck out of me. So I came up with the term Blindfold of Fear, Glasses of Love actually yesterday. Because I was listening to this tarot reading about opening up to spirit. It reminded me of the Eight of Swords. So if we look at the Eight of Swords, actually I'm going to pull up the Eight of Swords. Okay. If you look at the Eight of Swords, there's a girl standing in a ring of swords, right? And each sword represents something. And she has a blindfold on, right? The way out is right in front of her, but she can't see that because she has blindfold on. She can't move because she's afraid to move. And that's basically what this is about. I always see the Eight of Swords as willful ignorance. Willfully ignorant to a way out. You want to keep the blindfold on because of fear. And that's why I named it the Blindfold of Fear. So blindfold, when you have this blindfold of fear on, it prevents clear sight. Okay? It prevents you from seeing things clearly. And it allows, because we can't see clearly, it allows our egos to take control of our life. So I have my notes, of course. The blindfold creates darkness. And what's darkness associated with? Fear. Fear is ruled by the ego. The ego lives on fear. The ego thrives on fear. Okay? It's what makes us unconscious beings. Okay? People who are living in an unconscious state live from fear, their ego. And it causes, and along with all of that fear, it causes lack. Thoughts of lack, limiting beliefs. Okay? Why does it cause limiting beliefs? Because when we're fearful, it's easier for us to think of the worst case scenario versus the best case scenario. And I talked about this in my last video on growing through life. So when we're in an unconscious state, living from our ego, we can't see clearly. It's a fog. Okay? It's like the horses with the blinders. You can't see. And in the Four of Cups, you see someone sitting under a tree with 3 cups in front of them. But off here, there's a cup being handed like this. And they don't see it because they're too busy sulking and just wallowing in their misery. And they refuse to see that cup. And that's kind of what the Eight of Swords is about. Okay, not seeing clearly, a fog. You can only go the way your ego directs you because you can't see any other possibilities around you. Taking the blindfold off is a risk to those who live in the unconscious state. Yes, it's a risk. Okay? Because when you live in an ego-controlled life, your ego thrives on fear. Fear tells us we're not safe. The unknown. Okay? Don't take the blindfold off. You don't know what you're going to see. If we take the blindfold off, we don't know what we'll have to face, which is our shadows. When we're in an unconscious, unhealed state, our shadows follow us. But as long as we have that blindfold on, we can't see the shadows. So you hear about people who are, they don't take accountability. We talk about narcissistic behavior, narcissistic personality disorder. They don't feel like they've done anything wrong. What do you mean? I've never done anything wrong. I'm a victim here. That's the blindfold. Fear of taking accountability. If I take accountability, I'll get in trouble. I'll be embarrassed. And we don't want to feel that. So we'll just keep it on and just pretend that we're just a victim, and we're a victim of life, right? The ego, our ego is there for protection, protect us, tell us, hey, that's dangerous. Hey, you shouldn't do that, right? Hey, you shouldn't eat that. However,
what is going on?
Living in ego is like letting the inmates run the asylum, okay? There's no one there to control the inmates. They're just going crazy, okay? The ego is there, it's like, oh, I'm here to protect you, but it's really self-serving.
What is going on?
Because the ego lives in fear. One of those emotions, behaviors, is selfishness. It's self-serving for the ego to say, I'm here to protect you. Don't worry. Okay? The ego needs fear to stay strong and stay in control. Okay? And so it continues to just, skeptics. Okay? When it comes to the spiritual community, there's lots of skeptics. Oh, that's fantasy land. Oh, you're living in a world of, like I tell a friend, you're living in a world of rainbows and popsicles. It's time to clear the fairy dust out of your head. Okay, and if he's watching, he knows who I'm talking about. But it's like that. That's how skeptics view us. I've been told, oh, you're living in a fantasy world. Okay, it's time to live in reality. But what is reality? Reality is perception. For my friend, my reality is different than his reality because I live in a conscious state. I live in a higher vibrational state than him. He lives in a low vibrational unconscious state. So him reality is going out and getting a job and paying your bills and it's I did a reading for Red Note and I said it's the drone workers, right? Gray, warehouse, drone workers, one after the other. There's no creativity. There's no spark. There's no color. That's where he lives. I don't live there. Yeah, I live here. This is where I live. People may call it a fantasy world. That's people who think that way. That is their problem, not my problem. Okay? But the ego's like, oh, spirituality, oh, that's just what's it called? Woo-woo stuff. Oh, that's just magical, wishful thinking. And we're like, yeah. Why? Because we don't have anything to compare it to. We don't know any better, so we trust our egos. From the time we are able to start absorbing our core beliefs, it's always negative, ego. Okay? We don't know any better, so we trust our egos. And now when it comes to religion, we have religion. Okay? We have thousands of different religions that worship God. Whether it's God, Allah, Yeshua, whatever it happens to be, it's all the same God. And what are we taught in these religions? We're taught to fear God. Fear, again, the ego. We're taught to fear God. I believe that the Bible was written by the early church in order to control the masses. That is my belief. That is my opinion. Okay? Because there are scrolls that come up that completely contradict everything that the Bible is saying, all of the negativity. Okay? The Bible itself contradicts itself. The reason that I believe the Bible was written by the early church was to control the masses in order to create a more conservative world. Okay? And so what is the best way to control? With fear. And so that's what the early church did. So the early church taught us in the Bible, they took the parts that said, fear God. Don't sin. Repent. If you don't repent, you're going to hell. You're going to burn in hell for eternity. Okay? You have to be afraid of God. And when God is really like, you know what? Don't listen to these nuts. Okay? They're I don't know what their problem is. They're living from ego. Okay? I'm all about love. You have free will. You can do whatever you want. It's like with Wicca. Do what you will, but harm none. Do whatever you want. Just don't hurt anybody or yourself, and you're good. God's like, otherwise, be happy. That's what I want for you. Okay? So, what does it take to remove the blindfold of fear? Growth. We talked about this in my last video. Growth, healing, and living in the present. So, growth is not easy. We have to get to a point where we're tired of living in fear and lack. Navi, can you shut the door for me, please? Thank you, my love. We have to be tired of living in fear and tired of living in lack. Okay? And when I talk about lack, I'm talking about thoughts of lack. It's re-examining those core beliefs of, oh, you can only get money by working hard. You can only get money this way. Money is hard to come by. Okay? Those thoughts of lack. Once we're able to heal those thoughts and heal the traumas that keep us in fear, as we work through that, we weaken the ego. Because we're like, you know what, ego? I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of going to hell. There is no hell. I'm not afraid of dying. Dying is graduating onto the next plane of existence. Okay? And I already planned out my whole life when I'm going to pass away, why I'm going to pass away. It's not my concern anymore. Okay? We see this with a lot of people who get plastic surgery and take all these vitamins and potions and pills and tonics to stay young, to live longer. When in reality, you can't decide that. You're going to die when the time is right. The only time when we don't pass on, the only time we pass on before we are supposed to is self-unaliving. That's the only time. However, when that happens, we get put right back into the same type of life. And it'll happen over and over and Mom, over. I know.
You're gonna broke your pig.
He's not broken. I dropped this. It'll happen over and over and over.
You are a naughty girl.
I'm a naughty girl. Mm-hmm. Until we heal. Okay, that is our punishment. In the Bible, they talk about purgatory. That's purgatory. Having to live the same type of life over and over and over until we finally get it. Okay? The second thing it takes is to learn about love. The first love that we have to learn about is unconditional self-love. Okay? If our cup of love is empty, how can we pour it? People always say, oh, think of others first. Okay? We see situations where the mom is cooking dinner, serves everyone, and herself last. Or, she can't join whatever's going on because she has to make sure everyone else is served. To me, that is not self-love. Okay? I was going to say something, but there are certain things that I want to say, but I'm just like, I don't know if that's too controversial. Because to me, when it comes to traditional relationships, I'm fine with that. My man works, pays the bills, takes care of me. Me, I cook, I clean, I do laundry, I take care of the kids. Fine. But there has to be a balance. Aside from 3D jobs, duties, however you want to put it, a sense of equality. Okay? Make dinner, you put the dishes on the table, everyone serve yourself. And you, as the feminine, you sit down and have dinner the same time as everybody else. Okay? It's about filling our own cup up. It's the need to stand up for yourself and say, you know what? We are a family. We're all equals. We all contribute equally. Okay? If you're in a family and you're a mother and a father and you have kids, yeah, as a mom, you serve your kids first, especially if they're small. You serve your kids, you serve your husband, you sit down. If they need anything, they can get up and go get it. Okay? It comes down to not making the feminine in the family into a servant. Okay? And not allowing you to be a servant in your family. Our egos make it not okay to be human. Okay? As humans, we make mistakes. I always say that as spiritual beings living a human existence, we don't spend enough time in these bodies to be perfect. We don't. It's like going to a job, staying for the first day, quitting, and then going to another job. Staying for the first day, quitting, right? You're bouncing from body to body. You don't have enough time in that body to perfect it. To err is human, but to forgive divine. There's a need for self-forgiveness, to realize we're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. Okay? Even Johnny Depp isn't perfect. Even Patrick Dempsey isn't perfect. And yes, those are my kings. I love both of them. They're both. Anyway, even they're not perfect, right? There's a need there for forgiveness. Self-forgiveness. We have to forgive ourselves. We made a mistake. Stop beating yourself up over the mistake. In the Bible, it says, forgive our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Basically, what's that saying? Mistakes. Forgive our mistakes as we forgive others' mistakes. We are so quick to say, oh, you crashed my car, I forgive you. But if we crash our car, oh my gosh, right? I'll never forgive myself for being so stupid. You're only being what you're meant to be, okay? Sorry. You're being human. Why can we forgive others and not forgive ourselves? You know why? It's called accountability. Okay? Taking accountability is one of the hardest things that we can do. It makes us feel less than to admit, yeah, I screwed up. Yeah, I did that. It was a mistake. I'm imperfect. Imperfect? I'm imperfect. Instead of taking accountability and say, I messed up, that was my fault, we say, oh, I did it because of that. I did it because of my trauma. I did it because they upset me. Okay, my trauma. Oh, they made me do it. Okay? Instead of doing that, we have to figure out, okay, we made this mistake. We made this decision. Why 11:11? Why did we make this decision? What caused us to make the decision that we made, the mistake? Okay? We have criticizing ourselves, outside validation. Yeah. We're our own worst enemy. We are our greatest critic, criticizing ourselves. I look at myself, I criticize myself. I could look at my eyes. I have all this loose skin from my weight loss. I have loose skin on my face, neck, my midsection, my rear end, my thighs. I have so much to criticize myself over physically. But instead, I do this to make myself feel beautiful and feminine because I can't change anything else. So why not enhance the things I like about myself? It puts a blanket over the things I don't like about myself. Okay? Talking about outside validation. Validate me because I can't validate myself. Love me because I can't love myself. We see this a lot in social media. The people who flex, alpha males, they're a piece of work. We see this on pick me girls. Okay? OF. I'm not like other girls or guys. She wears short shorts, I wear t-shirts. I'm not like other girls. She likes to go get her nails done. I like to, play in the mud. I'm not like other girls. Stop it. Okay? If someone doesn't like you purely for who you are, screw them. They're not worth your time. Okay? This epidemic of criticizing ourselves and seeking validation elsewhere, who cares? Social media has become so toxic. It's projecting onto us, you're not good enough. We're better than you. Okay? People could argue and say, well, you're on social media. I'm not here for validation. I could care less how many followers I have, how many subscribers, how many likes, how many comments. I'm here to speak. I'm here to share my messages. I'm here to share what I can do and what I have to offer the world. In the beginning, yeah, I was like at 154 subscribers and I was like, why am I not getting more? And finally I just stopped checking my Facebook. I stopped checking my YouTube altogether. Before I knew it, I was up to 167 subscribers. I'm like, where the hell did they come from? I don't check. Not to say if you subscribe, like, and comment, not to say I don't care about you guys. Of course I do. I love you guys because you know why? The rise in views and likes and subscribers says, wow, I am touching people. I am reaching people. They want to know what I have to say. I'm so grateful for that. And I love you guys for that. Thank you. Okay, I could not be more appreciative for the fact that I am touching you and I'm reaching you. But it's those, rate me from 1 to 10. Or kiss or slap. Or I'm not like other girls, pick me. You don't need to do that as women and men. And whatever gender you are, you don't need to do that. Okay? We have gratitude. Gratitude for what we have. There's a real inability to have gratitude for what we have. Am I in the place I want to be? No. I could have a list like this of things that are wrong with this apartment. Okay? But do I focus on that? No. I'm just so grateful that I have a roof over my head. I have a furnace to heat the apartment and to cool it down in the summer. I'm grateful that I have a bed that I get to sleep in every night. Entertainment. I have a kitchen full of food. I have my own bathroom. That is what I'm talking about. We talk about the silver lining. We talk about the bright side. Look on the sunny side, right? You have to look at your situation and say it could be worse. I was in a place, I was sleeping under a loading dock on the concrete in the rain. Like, I wasn't in the rain, I was under the covering, but it was raining outside. I was sleeping on concrete. I had nowhere else to go. I was basically having to depend on someone else to do their craft, to get money just so I could go to McDonald's and get a cheeseburger. It can always be worse. Okay? It's a real need to have gratitude for the little things. I'm grateful that I have clothes. I'm so grateful that I have my cards. I'm so grateful that I'm able to have ice water. I'm so grateful that I have a comfortable bed to sleep in. I have a roof over my head. I am so grateful. I am so grateful I can see, I can speak, I can walk. I'm so grateful that I already said see, stuff like that, because it can always be worse. You take your health, you take yourself for granted. And what happens when you can't do that anymore? I talk about this, especially people who make money online on social media. Even the girls, the OF girls. What are you going to do when you can't do that anymore? I hope you have a good money manager, because when you can't do that anymore, what are you going to do? We see people on social media, especially when TikTok was banned for like 12 hours, crying and just meh, right? Because my source of income is gone. Well, that's when you should have what is commonly known as a backup plan. I saw jobs spike right after the TikTok ban. Well, I guess I have to go get a job. Be lucky that you have the ability to go get a job. There are so many people out there who can't work. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about gratitude. Talking about my car is crap. Does it get you from here to the store or to your job? Well, yeah. Then be grateful that you have a car. Do you have access to public transportation? Yeah. Well, be grateful you have a way to get around. Here, where I live, it's almost 2 miles to the nearest bus stop. We have to take Ubers. Okay? It's about a unique perspective. Looking at it from a different angle. Okay? Looking at it from the angle of someone who doesn't have that fortune that you have. Now, developing unconditional self-love. This is stuff like gratitude, joy, self-love. Developing unconditional self-love, gratitude, joy, seeing through the glasses of love. We talk about the rose-colored glasses. And what do people say? Rose-colored glasses is fantasy world. Overly optimistic. But what's wrong with looking at the sunny side of life? What's wrong with looking at the silver lining? Okay? What's wrong with seeing things from a love perspective versus a fear perspective? When you see things from the perspective of love, you put on your glasses like this, okay? My glasses are broken. That's not a metaphor. You put on the glasses of love, and you're like, oh my God. Right? You see all those videos of people who put on the special glasses and suddenly they see color. It's like that. Or people who have been blind, who've gotten surgery, and they open their eyes and they see, and they're floored. It's like that. I once was blind, but now I see. That's moving from the unconscious state into the conscious state. From the blindfold of fear into the glasses of love. Rose-colored glasses. When someone tells you to take off your rose-colored glasses, say no. Because once I take off these rose-colored glasses, I put on a blindfold of fear, and I'm not going to do that. I've seen things from the perspective of love. And now that I've seen this, I can never look at it another way. So no, I am not taking off my rose-colored glasses. Because my world is beautiful. I have nothing to fear. Growth is scary, not easy. Growth is scary and not easy, but it's worth it. It's hard. It took me a year for healing and unconditional self-love. It took a long time. It's not something that happens overnight, okay? But if you want something you never had, you must do things you've never done. That is the part that kind of triggers us, right? Do things that never done. Doing something we've never done invokes fear. Oh, I've never done that before. I don't know if I'm going to like it. I don't know if it's going to kill me. I don't know. I would rather, like my daughter's dad says, err on the side of caution. Okay, better safe than sorry. It's scary. It's the unknown. We don't know what's going to happen when we grow spiritually, mentally, okay, or emotionally. So let's just stay in our little cocoon of unconscious low vibrational behavior because we're comfortable here. Okay? Speaking of which, breaking through the glass ceiling of our comfort zone, which that ceiling is set by our egos. Okay? Oh, we can only take this much happiness because if it goes past that happiness, it's the unknown. No. Have you ever gotten to a place where you were so happy and then boom, something happens and just destroys it all? I've been there. That's hitting that glass ceiling, bouncing off the glass ceiling and coming back down. That's our ego preventing us from breaking through that glass ceiling. Why? Because by the ego taking control and putting us in a state of fear, it weakens us. We are not strong enough to break through that glass ceiling. You have to be, that glass ceiling is a glass ceiling of fear. Okay? This is why it's important that you learn to take off that blindfold of fear, because when you take off that blindfold of fear, you weaken your ego. And as you weaken the ego, that glass ceiling weakens and you're able to just blow right through it. Okay? Basically, taking off that blindfold of fear, putting on the glasses of love is saying, you know what, ego, you have no power over me. Okay? If you've seen the movie Labyrinth, Sarah, she can never remember that line, right? Never remember it. That was her ego. No, we're not going to remember that. But as she moves through, she learns things about herself. Okay? The scene where she was all of a sudden in her house and she was like, oh, maybe it was just a dream. And the wall and the woman with the homeless woman, goblin, whatever, comes in and she's like, oh, wait a minute, this isn't right. And she tries to leave, right? But the goblin lady is like, no, oh look, here's this. You love this, right? And here's this, you love this, right? And she's like, and eventually she's like, no, this is junk. This is crap. I don't need this anymore. And what happens to the walls? They come crumbling down and she's able to escape that glass ceiling of ego, right? Because she was able to develop a sense of love and that allowed her to see beyond the things. You have no power over me. And at the end, once she gets to the castle, all of a sudden she remembers and she tells Jareth, you have no power over me. And what happens to the mirror? The glass ceiling shatters, right? You have no power over me. Now, we have the blindfold of the ego, which is fear and darkness. We can't see. Okay? It's kind of like the kids in the dark. When they get scared, what do? They put the blanket over their head. I don't want to see what's going on out there. That's what the ego does to us. Puts a blanket over our head. Let's not, we're safe in here. We're safe from the things that we don't want to see. But it takes courage to take off that blanket and say, no, I'm willing to face whatever's out there. I'm willing to fight for myself. Okay? I'm willing to fight for love and vanquish fear. So, that was my message. Blindfold of fear and the glasses of love. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you know anybody who could benefit from listening to this message, please share. I want to get out these messages to as many people as I can. My purpose here is to teach others. I am like, with the loan, they have the loan opener, the person who gets the people in the door. I'm the person who's out there working to get the people into the door. okay? That awakening, getting people into the door. Hey, you know, let's sign you up for this journey into the journey into the consciousness, Christ consciousness, journey into love, journey into rising above your ego. That's my job, okay? And so it's important for me to get this out to as many people as I can. So remember, have a beautiful day, week, weekend, month, life, year. Remember to live in and spread love, joy, compassion, gratitude, kindness, peace, and enlightenment.
I have a cat.
I will see you next time.
Okay.